So hello all, good evening. Welcome to today's live and interactive session conducted by THiNC Institute of Design. So as we all know, there's just finger counting days for JEE paper to entrance exam. So Surasa is there with us. So he'll be taking architectural based topic. So if you have any doubts or queries, you can just use the live chat box which is available since it's just an interactive session. So let's start. Before, I just want to give one more announcement that, as you all know, we are conducting curiosity quiz competition through WhatsApp as well as Kahoot app. So kindly do participate. Today we'll be having at 9 p.m. The topic will be JEE Paper 2 mock quiz. Okay. So Surasa, shall we start then?
Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to this session wherein we'll be discussing about the JEE Paper 2 questions that were asked, the session 1 questions that were asked in the evening shift. So if you have any questions, queries and all, you can post them in the live chat box and I would respond to same. Okay, there are some questions already sir, जिन बच्चों का बीटेक वाला एग्जाम फिल किया था फॉर्म उनका क्या होगा पीटी भी नहीं चल रहा है सबका एग्जाम पीआर वाला ओके So Isha Rani, we are expecting the exams by 30th of this month. Obviously the admit cards are not yet out. Last time I checked, the admit cards were not out. So we are hoping that they will release it as soon as possible. We also hope that the results of the first session would be declared as soon as possible. Okay. So yes, we will begin. So basically this is a discussion session. We have had some discussions earlier about, I think, non-verbal reasoning. Our faculty had discussed about the previous questions of session 1. We had discussions about mathematics. We also had discussions on, I think, drawing, right? So now we're going to look at architecture awareness mainly. We will deal with the questions one by one. I hope most of you are already aware of the questions. If you know the answers, I would love to see you people respond to this. We won't be going through only these questions. We would go through, something beyond these questions, possible questions that they would be asking so that we'll be prepared for the 30th exam. Okay. So this one, what's the answer? Amar Jawan Jyoti, which was conceptualized and constructed after Indo-Pakistan War of 1971, is now merged with the flame of. What is the answer? Can anyone please let me know in the chat box if you are aware of this? Yes, option B is the right answer. So it's basically National War Memorial, right? So yes, Sharat Shivratri Isha, yes, correct. So you also need to know about who is the architect, like any idea who is the architect or which year it had come up, or can you tell me what is the controversy related to that? So these new things also you need to know about. So this was I think this was a 2019 current affairs news. The new National War Memorial was something that was started in 2019. Okay, so this is basically the website. The screenshot that I have kept is basically the website. Any additional information you have, Rishi, Isha, Sharat, Shivratri, please do share so that everyone gets to know also. Okay. So basically you have a website and all. It's the roll of honors. It's basically to remember the great soldiers who are actually given life for our country. Now this is how it looks like. You can obviously see something that's very close to it, the India Gate. So it's in Delhi. Now, earlier when they started it in 2019, they had the Amar Jawan Jyoti, which was placed at India Gate. So it was constructed in 1972, not India Gate, but the Amar Jawan Jyoti was placed there in 1972. So yes, Akshay had made a good point. The Indo-Pak War of 1971, actually. Okay, the Pak War. What happened in the Indo-Pak War? At the end of the day, what happened? It was basically the liberation of Bangladesh. Bangladesh was created. You might have heard of Mukti Vahini and things like that. Okay, so there was a war, and I think that was one of the biggest wars wherein highest number of prisoners of war were captured by Indians, and we treated them well and gave them back. So that's the whole story behind it. So in memory of them, on the very next year, that is 1971 is when the war happened. 72 we had this particular Amar Jawan Jyoti being lit in India Gate. Now, what exactly is India Gate? So this is basically in memory of the soldiers who were actually given their life in the World War II. Okay. Now, what you see here in front is the National War Memorial. So you can see it's in circles, it's in concentric circles that they have given. There are multiple circle of bravery, sacrifice, and things like that. And the Amar Jawan Jyoti, which was actually placed in the World War II Memorial, that is India Gate, was shifted. It was shifted This year, I think in 2022, it was shifted to National War Memorial. So when that was done, there was a huge cry about it, and that is how it got into the current affairs. Okay. So I think that that would be it. It's also called as the Rashtriya Samar, Rashtriya Samar Smarak, and it's basically done by VB Designs. VB Designs architect Yogesh Chandra Hasan. Okay, so I think yes, that that would be mainly it. Okay, so mainly these current affairs things, it's ideal if you read any of the newspapers on a daily basis, but for students who are writing the exam in the next 1 week, it's obviously not practically possible. So collect the current affairs. On an ideal note, if you're preparing for the next year and all, you can continuously, read these newspapers at least 30 minutes a day and get to know about art, culture, history, monuments, related things and all. Okay. Now, can you identify this particular monument? Can anyone tell me which is this monument? Again, this is a very famous monument. It is in Delhi. It's something related to war. Can anyone identify and tell me what exactly this monument is? It's something related to war. Okay, it's something related to, again, it's something in the genre, in the same genre. So, Amar Jawan Jyoti, India Gate, National War Memorial. It's very similar. So, any guesses? Any guesses in the live chat box? Okay, so basically it is the Indian War Memorial Museum. It is the Indian War Memorial Museum. Please don't be confused about these two. Okay, National War Memorial, India Gate, and Indian War Memorial Museum. All this is different. It's near Red Fort in Delhi. It's given as a tribute to the World War I soldiers. So you have Indians, you also have Europeans, and all British officers are also there as part of the. Yes, Chitragupta, good Indian War Museum. Okay. Now, when we're talking about famous monuments, I think you should be able to recognize all these 1 and 2. Can you identify any of these monuments? Which is 1, which is 2? Let me know in the live chat box. I think one is quite famous, 1 is quite easy. You also need to know the location. You should be able to identify it. Yes, Gateway of India. Sharath Akshay, correct. Gateway of India on the left hand side. Number 1 is Gateway of India. That is Mumbai. Yes, correct. And on the right hand side, you have number 2 was, yes, Ramito Zili. Yes, correct. Qutub Complex. Yes, Akshay. Qutub Complex. On the adjacent, you can see Qutub Minar also. Okay. The third one on the left hand side, not just the monument, but also the name of the city, the ruler. Can anyone tell me that? Yes, Charminar, Hyderabad. Ruler, figure out the ruler. That is also important. Ruler and dynasty, that's also important. Kuli Qutub Shah, yes, great. Okay. On the right hand side, I think we already discussed. Number 4 is something that we have already discussed. It's obviously India Gate from Delhi. Okay. Let's go to the next question. So, so these are some of the monuments that you need to look at. Okay. Also, there were lots of other monuments which were in use. Like, for example, Gyan Vapsi Mosque was there. Okay. So you might want to look into that. Then the Kashi Vishwanath Temple was there. Kashi Corridor is there. Then the Somnath Temple is there. Reclining Buddha. Then Konark Sun Temple at Odisha. These were all there in current affairs for the last 12 to 15 months. It's all becoming important. Okay, so please note that. Second question, which among the following author has written the famous book, The Death and Life of Great American Cities? What's the answer? There are 4 options. Charles Comey. I think they've written Charles Comey. I think I found a lot of spelling mistakes in this particular question paper. I don't know who's proofreading it. I think it should be Charles Correa, or probably they could also argue that that's what they meant. Gene Jacobs, yes, correct. That is Gene Jacobs. Okay, so have an idea about this documentaries, books, and also movies, even Netflix documentaries. There are lots of Netflix documentaries based on designers and architects. So they might ask all those. So have that in mind also. Okay, you should also be able to identify you should also be able to identify with respect to the image also. Okay, so please keep that also as a point. Gene Jacobs is the right answer. Okay, it's an easy question. It's a famous monument. So we'll start with the architect. Can you tell me who is the architect of this? The Hall of Nations at Pragati Maidan, quite famous in New Delhi, was designed essentially. So is it like they ask about the modern architecture? They could ask about the modern architecture. They could go for classical. They could go for brutalistic. They could go for. They could even go for the prehistoric era. They could ask anything. Okay, Renaissance, Gothic. They could ask anything. Okay, yes. Most of you have got it correctly. Raj Raval, correct. Raj Raval, Akshay, Ramito. Iridescent lollipop. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it correctly. If I'm pronouncing it wrongly, Sharat Chandramohan, yes, correct. Raj Reval. Okay. Now, when we're talking about this one, no, you need to know all these things. You need to know. So I think I think you are aware of what is a spheroid. Spheroid. I think you are aware of. What's a hadron? You have decahedron, tetrahedron, octahedron. What's a hadron? What is meant by a hadron? See, when you're preparing with the previous year questions, no, you should go beyond. You should go beyond those questions, beyond by hearting or beyond just mugging up. You should look at the other options. You should look at the possible questions that they could come up from that particular area and all. What's a hadron? What's a hadron? Hadron is the question, Mohit. What's a hadron? So hadron is, in simple English, we are saying it's any particular geometrical solid having a fixed defined number of plane faces. That's it. Okay. So when we're talking of tetrahedron, when we're talking of octahedron, octa 8, again, it's with respect to the numbers that is coming up. Okay. So can you identify this? Okay, let me do some markings so that you will be able to. Okay, this is the first one. Can you identify the first one? Yes, I think Rishi has answered it correctly. It is a tetrahedron. You have octahedron after that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 faces are there. So what we usually do in most of the long-term batches that we have, we give them origami tasks and they prepare with paper these kinds of models. So it will be easy for you to sort of remember it. So if you can't do that, at least draw it at least once in the papers now. Within the next 4 or 5 days, you can at least draw it and keep it. Okay, so that you will be clear about all these things. Okay, and on the right hand side, so on the left hand side you have tetrahedron. At the bottom it is octahedron. There are 8 faces, and on the right hand side you have decahedron. Okay, so please note about that. Now, what is this basically? What is this? What's the right answer for this? So the Hall of Nations was actually made with the help of octahedrons. Okay, octahedrons. It actually looks like it's made out of tetrahedron, but it is not. It is not. There are 8 faces in that. Okay, and please note one more thing. It was demolished. It was demolished. I think in 2019 or 18, it was demolished. There was a lot of controversy. Okay. So yes, that would be it. This is a go-getter for everyone. What's the answer? CPCB. I mean, even if you don't know, also you can guess. It's not A, it's not D, right? In octahedron, in tetrahedron and all, no, the bottom surface is not counted. Okay. In octahedron, if you're talking about this particular surface, okay, if you're talking about this particular square rectangle surface, no, they don't count it. Yes, so Central Pollution Control Board, that is correct. Central Pollution Control Board. I think that was quite easy, but they're obviously not going to repeat that question again. Okay, so the Pollution Control Board, Pollution Water Act, Air Act, all these things are actually in the news for a lot of reasons. Can you tell me what is the current affairs news that's going on with respect to single-use plastic? See, just an additional point in this hadron question, it's not just decahedron, tetrahedron, and all that you have. You also have to study the other hadrons. Okay, you also have to study icosahedron, dodecahedron. There are lots of other geometric shapes. So please go through that. Anybody? Single-use plastic. Single-use plastic. Okay, so basically India has banned single-use plastic, okay, from 1st of July. So that's quite an important current affairs based question. Okay, so you might have used, what is single-use plastic? Things that we use only once. Let's say, for example, straws which were made out of plastic. Then let's say earbuds that were made out of plastic, glass, then plates. There are lots of things, thermocol. wrapping papers. There are lots of things like that. Okay, so all these things which are basically used only once, they are actually being banned. Okay, and it also varies with respect to the thickness. It varies with respect to the thickness, and with respect to that, the new rule has been made. Okay. So now, when we're talking about the full forms, no, you also need, okay, two important acts that you might want to note: Air Act and Water Act. Air Act and Water Act. Please note that in which year all those act had come into place, and also the plastic waste management rules. Some additional points that you might want to look into. It is under the plastic waste management rules 2016 that they have decided to bring in the single-use plastic ban. Okay, so please note that. Now, additionally, when we are talking about full forms, okay, some of the full forms, I would say NHA. I think not all of this in this. Okay, I'll just give you some of them that are important. NHA, I hope everyone is aware of that. National Highway Authorities India. BRO, Border Roads Organization. CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. Then CISF, I don't think it's that important for this exam. Central Industrial Security Forces, but still. FCAS, Food Corporation of India. Then MES, Military Engineering Services. CRPF, you may have seen CRPF officials guarding certain important areas. Central Reserve Police Force. Then I think, yes, that should be it. MOEFCC, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. That is again something that's important. FSSA, again important, right? So some of these, please note them. Please note the full forms. They're not going to ask the same thing again, right? So they're obviously going to change it and ask. BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards. SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India. If anyone is into trading, share market, if anyone is into if anyone has seen Scam 1992 of Harshad Mehta, then you might be knowing it. Okay, so ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research. Yes, these are the ones that are important. You must have heard Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. You might be getting messages and things like that. So full form of that is also important. IRDA, again, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority. I think most of the people who are selling insurance and all, they need to take some exams and anything of that sort. Okay, so just have an idea about all these full forms. Okay, just in case they are asking anything, preferably something related to either construction, architecture, buildings, climate change, environment. These are the ones that are important. So have that in mind. Okay. Now, national waterways, something that's very important. We have been doing this since 1980s. Why is waterways important? Why can't we do it roadways? Why can't we do the transportation via roadways, railways, and all? Cheap. It's definitely cheaper than all these things. I've given the approximate rate of transporting around 1,000 kilograms. In highways, in roadways, if you're taking 2.5 rupees, in railways, it takes 1.36, and in waterways, it takes only 1 rupee 6 paise. So it's obviously cheaper. And that's one of the reasons why people prefer waterways. Okay, we're talking about inland waterways. IWAI is the authority that is looking at it, not via the sea and all. Backwaters, rivers and all is what we are talking about. Okay, so just like how we have national highways, NH, we have NWs, national waterways, national waterway 1, 2, 3, and things like that. Okay, so IWAI, Indian Waterways Authority of India. They are the ones who are looking into all those things. Okay, so I think, yes, that should be it. This is quite easy question. The Basilica of Bom Jesus, UNESCO World Heritage Site, is located in which state of India? In which state is it located? Just a minute, everyone. Yes. Yes, it's in Goa. It's in Goa. Okay. So basically in Goa, it is the churches and convents of Goa, which is put in as a part of UNESCO World Heritage Site. I'll ask a couple of more questions. How many UNESCO World Heritage Sites are there in India? And which were the latest 2 UNESCO World Heritage Sites? In which states were the latest 2 UNESCO World Heritage Sites declared in India? Let me know in the chat box. First question is, how many UNESCO World Heritage Sites does India have? And the second question is, in which states were the latest 2 UNESCO World Heritage Sites declared in India? Which are the states wherein they were declared? Yes, Sharad, that is correct. There are 40 of them. So we have 40 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in India. And the last 2 that were declared, one was in Gujarat and one was in Telangana, the Ramappa Temple and Dholavira. Okay, so please have an idea about all those things also. So Goa was actually, was British mostly focusing on Goa, or which? Yes, Ramito, it is Dholavira, correct. So which colonial power was actually, European power was actually residing in Goa? Which 32 cultural, 7 natural. Rishi, that is correct. And 1 mixed. So 32 plus 7 plus 1, that is 40. So it was Portuguese who were basically there in Goa. And I think they left India. They were forcefully asked to leave India in the 1960s. In the 1960s. Okay. Yes, Ramito, it is Portuguese. Okay. Okay. Now coming to, okay, there are lots of, okay, one more thing, there are lots of types of architecture. Okay, so there are lots of types of architecture that are important. Baroque is one famous style which you might want to look into. Baroque style, Baroque. Baroque is another style. I think you might have heard of Gothic and Gothic, brutalistic. There are classical, modern, postmodern. There are lots of types of architecture styles. Just go through that. You should be able to identify by looking at a certain monument. You should be able to identify which exactly is the architecture style that's being used. Okay, I think that that should be it. And if possible, in the last, let's say in the last 3 years, how many UNESCO World Heritage Sites have been declared around the world? Those monuments, if we can figure out the location, it would be great. Okay, so I hope that's cool. Let's go to the next question. Vitruvian man, it's quite famous. I think Remito has already given the answer. The correct answer is, yes, Leonardo da Vinci. The correct answer is Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, so we do update in our Instagram page things like this, like their works on, let's say, their birthdays, the month in which they are born, things like that. We try to highlight. Okay, so you can follow us there at Instagram. I would request the host to please share the Instagram ID also. Now, Vitruvian man, what is so special about the Vitruvian man? You should be able to know that. You should have at least 1 or 2 sentence. You should know what makes it special. Figure it out. I would suggest everyone to go figure it out. What exactly is it that makes Vitruvian man famous? Okay. Is it the golden ratio? Is it the inscription in circle? Is it the inscription in a box? Figure that out. Rule of third. There are lots of things that are coming up. Okay. So basically, you need to know at least some of the important works that he has done. Again, Mona Lisa was something that was in news. Why was Mona Lisa in news? Why was Mona Lisa in news this year? Yes, exactly. Someone threw a cake. I think it was some environmental activist or someone who actually threw a cake. Okay. And in which museum do you find that? Who is the architect of the front pyramid of that particular museum? You should know all these things. You should know things. You should connect all these things and study. Okay. Yes, IMP, Louvre of Paris. Yes, correct. Someone threw the cake on painting. So get to know about what are the at least 3 or 4 important paintings that you can see in the Louvre Museum. Okay, it will be helpful. Okay. So I think it was something related to environment, right? They wanted to highlight some point and they wanted to sort of reach the global news. I think they have, because that's again one of the reasons why we are discussing it, right? Chalo, answer this. In which of the following Indian state the Garo Khasi range is located? Okay. Anyway, you might already be knowing the answer, so I don't think there's any point in hiding it. But still, in which state is Garo Khasi located? Let me know. Let me know in the comment box. Let me know in the live chat. Yes, it's Meghalaya. What are the other things that Meghalaya is famous for? Have you heard of the highest, the area in India wherein you get the highest annual rainfall? Yes, B is the correct answer. Meghalaya is the right answer. Meghalaya is the right answer. Where exactly, which place, which village do you find the maximum amount of rainfall? It's Mausinram. It's Mausinram. Earlier it was Chirapunchi. Now it's Mausinram in Meghalaya. Yes, Ramito. Yes, correct. Okay. Then there's another thing famous that's called as living root bridges. Living root bridges. Okay, so find that out. What exactly is a living root bridge? How can a bridge be made out of root? How can a bridge live? Things like that. Okay, it would be helpful. Now, when we are talking about the ranges, it's important that you have an idea about all these things. At least, not all, at least some of them. Okay, you need to know at least, let's say, for example, the Karakoram range. You need to know about the Karakoram range. Okay, then Patkai range is here. Then Aravalis is not exactly here. Aravalis slightly go towards the Delhi portion. It almost ends at Delhi. Aravalis range is again important. Okay. Okay, tell me, where is Chota Nagpur Plateau? Where is Chota Nagpur Plateau? In which state, or which are the states, or which are the areas wherein you can find the Chota Nagpur Plateau? Okay, some part of it you obviously can find in Madhya Pradesh. Mainly it is in Jharkhand. Mainly it is in Jharkhand, Chota Nagpur Plateau. Okay, you have the Satpura range, Vindhya ranges, and also these are the ranges that differentiates between the northern part of India and the southern part of India. Okay, then Western Ghats, I think most of you might already be aware of it. Yes, Ramito, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh, correct. Okay, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, and all are aware for most of you, I guess. Okay, so draw a rough map of India. At least have these 7 or 8 important mountain ranges being drawn. Okay, I think yes, that should be it. Garo, Khasi, all these things, all these are actually tribal names. So each tribal settlement is around a mountain. So that's how the name comes in. Okay. Yes, Deccan Plateau is different. Deccan Plateau is different. Deccan Plateau is different. Chota Nagpur Plateau is different. Okay. So have a brief idea about it. Don't think of going very deep into the geography and all. That's not going to work out. Okay. So yes, the living root bridges is what I was talking about. So please note that. What is it? Where is it? Any current affairs news that's related to that, please note that. There's something related to the UNESCO World Heritage Site and all. So please note that it's in Meghalaya. Okay, it's in Meghalaya. This question, I think, is a relatively commonsensical question, which probably most of you could answer even if you think of it, if you haven't prepared. So it's quite simple to come up with the logic. So buildings situated in hills will require to consider which of the following phenomena. In hills, you do not have tsunamis, right? High tides are also not going to be there. So A and C is done. So C should not be the answer. A also should not be there in the answer. What is left is B and C. Now, landslide is something that is possible in the mountains. So where is D? D is only there in this option there. So C is the right answer. So it's quite sitter of a question. I think most of you could get this. I am assuming that most of you could get this. Okay. This was fun. This see over the years, we have heard from the toppers who've reached SPAs and all that. In architecture awareness, there would be 1 or 2 questions which would be difficult for you people to get it. So Please don't go behind the ego. Please don't think that you've studied architecture awareness a lot and you should be getting it. Please don't be, very adamant about it. Okay, so let's just face it. If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, there are one or two questions which you might not be getting it. That's it. So Vienna Peace Congress, basically it happened in 1814, 1815. It was something related to the Napoleonic wars and all. After Napoleon losing it, they wondered if French Revolution would be spreading around and all. I'm not that much aware of it, to be frank. I had to look through it to figure out the answer. Okay, so I was also not aware of it, but still there would be questions like this. I don't have any idea why they've asked this also. Okay, next question: which of the following is the longest river of peninsular India? Yes, which is the longest river in this? There are four options: Narmada, Godavari, Mahanadi, and Tapi. So you should at least study seven important rivers. Okay, the seven basic important rivers of India: Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra, Indus, Godavari, Kaveri, and all. Okay. Nope, it is not Narmada. It is actually Mohit. I didn't understand what exactly you were asking. The correct answer is Godavari. Okay. The correct answer is Godavari. So basically, when we are talking about peninsular India, we are only talking about this much area which is completely surrounded by water. Okay. So the longest one is Godavari. The longest one is Godavari. Which is the shortest one in this? Yes, yeah. If they give Indus, yes, Indus is going to be the answer. Indus, Brahmaputra, and all are quite long. Okay. The shortest one, Tapi, or what is also known as Tapti. Tapti, it's all the same. Okay. Now tell me, majority of the peninsular rivers that you see here in this, do they flow to the east or do they flow to the west? To which, yes, Rishi, correct. Smallest is Tapi or Tapti. Okay. So most of the rivers that you can see here, peninsular, do they flow to the east or do they flow to the west? Do they flow to the east or do they flow to the west? East, west, east to west, west. Okay, let's take it this way. Do they flow to the Bay of Bengal or do they flow to the Arabian Sea? AS or BOB? AS or BOB? So BOB, Bay of Bengal, is towards your eastern side, and it is east. That is the right answer. Okay, it is towards the east. That is the right answer. Okay, so most of them are flowing to this direction. Okay, then the question is, which are the ones that is flowing to the west? Which are the ones that's flowing to the west? Narmada. Oh, I chose a wrong color. Sorry. Narmada is flowing to the west. Tapi is also flowing to the west. Narmada and Tapi is flowing to the west. Okay. So have these kinds of tricky things in your mind, so that if at all they are asking, you should be able to get the answer, or you should be able to arrive at the answer. Okay. Have you heard of anything of this? The sorrow of Bengal, the sorrow of Bihar, the sorrow of Assam. These are basically rivers. These are rivers which creates devastating floods. In Assam recently there was flooding, right? So can you tell me what is the sorrow of Bengal, Bihar, or Assam? Kosi is the sorrow of Bihar, says Ramito. Then how about the sorrow of Bengal, sorrow of Assam? Prankit, that's a smart guess, but okay. Let me see if there are any other guesses. Okay, so basically the sorrow of Bengal is Damodar River. You might have heard of DVC, Damodar River Valley Corporation and all. Sorrow of Bihar is correct. Sorrow of Bihar, I think Ramito had said correctly. It is Kosi. Sorrow of Assam is Brahmaputra. Sorrow of Assam is Brahmaputra. When we're talking about Brahmaputra, can you tell me the rail cum road bridge which we have built over Brahmaputra? Something that was in news, I think, in the last 2 years. Very famous bridge that we had built. Starts with B for box, B for Brahmaputra. So this is what I'm saying when I say you should look at the previous questions and all. You should slowly, look into the other options also. You should look at Nayan. That's a good guess, but no. You should also look at the other things that could be asked from that entire area. Okay, so just scan the rest of the areas also. So Bogibeel Bridge. Bogibeel is in Assam, Brahmaputra, over the Brahmaputra River. It's very difficult to build something over the Brahmaputra River because it's quite wide. It also shifts its places quite frequently, quite regularly. Okay, longest rail cum road bridge in India, approximately 5 kilometers, and it's Asia's second largest rail cum road bridge. Okay, in terms of bridges, it's the 5th largest. I think some of you might have heard of some of these names: Bandra, Worli, Bhupen Hazarika, and all you might have heard. Okay, it was inaugurated in 2018. So usually it is the last 1-2 years current affairs questions that they ask. Okay. Also, please note 25th December is the day of good governance in India. Okay. Yes. The next question: climatology. At the summer solstice, the sun rises in which direction? At the summer solstice, the sun rises in which direction? Okay, Prankit says far to the northeast. Sharat says far to the northeast. So we have to, let's assume that it's Apollo also says the same. Okay, let's assume that it's basically in the northern hemisphere wherein we are currently. So in the northern hemisphere, basically what happens, it rises from the farthest point of northeast. Sun rises from the farthest point of northeast and sets in the farthest point of northwest during the summer solstice. That's somewhere around the 21st of June, which is the longest day of the northern hemisphere. From there, it would slowly come, and in December, it would rise from the farthest point of southeast, and it would set in the farthest point of southwest. So between June and December, they will be shifting in this zone that I am marking right now, and this would continue. From December, they would go back and reach on June 21st, they will reach here again. From June 21st onwards, they'll come back. So it basically moves. So basically, solstice is the Latin word. I think it sort of means good amount of solar energy or anything of that sort. Basically, that is the day wherein you get northern hemisphere in summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. If it is summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, that is wherein you receive maximum amount of heat. As per NASA, it is somewhere around 25 to 30% of extra solar energy that you are receiving on that particular day. Okay, so when you have summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, it is called summer sun. So it rises in the northeastern point and it sets in the northwestern point. And in the winter sun, that is towards the month of December 2021 and all, sun rises from the southeast and sets in the southwest. It's not exactly that sun rises, we are going around it. So the sun rising thing is basically to give you a brief idea. Okay, now there might be students who haven't understood this concept. You will have to go revise and figure it out, and if you still don't understand, the other thing that you can do is by heart this table. By heart this one table. If you figure out what is there for northern hemisphere, if you can figure out what is there for northern hemisphere, then you just change it if they are asking for southern hemisphere. Okay, so for southern hemisphere, northeast changes to southeast, southeast changes to northeast. It's quite simple. Okay, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So if it is winter in northern hemisphere, then it's from the southeast, this particular point. It's from the southeast that the sun is rising, and it will set in southwest. Okay, during the winter period, winter sun, it's all one and the same. Mohit, clear? Okay, so in between at some particular point, it will rise exactly from the east and set exactly in the west. Okay, we cannot go through the entire topic of climatology. It's quite long. Okay, but still, they used to ask 2 to 3 questions. Quite an important topic, very, very important topic, especially for JEE paper 2. Okay. Yes. Try answering this question. Okay, or try answering the, let's see, an easy guess. Which is the easiest thing? Tell me the easiest thing that you can figure it out in this particular set of questions that are given. Which is the easiest thing that you can figure out? Let me know in the chat box. Yes, for me also, I felt A3. A3 was quite easy. Industrial building, it was done for some sort of exhibition. It was done towards the time wherein, industrial revolution was peaking and things like that. So A3 is something that is definite. Okay. So that is easy. A3. So A3 means it's either B or C. A3. Then B4, they've already put it. So that's also not going to change. B4. B is brutalistic style secretariat building. Who is the architect of that? Brutalistic style secretariat building in Chandigarh. Who is the architect? Who is the designer? Correct, Le Corbusier. Correct, Le Corbusier. Okay. So Le Corbusier have also done other buildings there. Okay, the Palace of Justice, Secretariat building. There are lots of buildings that he has done. Yes, Dia Fatima, correct. Also, he has done the planning of that particular city. In fact, it is the first planned city post-independence at the national level. Okay, so he's also the planner of that. Okay. So B is also figured out. Now, what is the other thing that you know? I think somebody was talking about D, Gothic architecture, Westminster Abbey. If you get it, well and great. If you don't get it, C1 is again difficult. So I think the toughest in this would be C. So it'll be difficult to figure this out. So if you can get Gothic architecture style, if you can get Gothic architecture style Westminster Abbey, then the correct answer is option C. Okay, the correct answer is option C. Okay. So please note this, and also one more thing. I think this is blobby texture. Okay, I'm not sure if they have, again, spelling mistakes. Charles Correa was also, they gave spelling mistake. Let's look at some of these things. So basically, brutalism. What is meant by brutalism? Brutalism is something that evolved towards the period of World War #2, right? Towards the end of the World War #2, when people were, sick and tired of seeing fake things. There are lots of war, bloodshed, and things like that. They decided that let's keep things as it is. Let's start. Yes, Ramito says it's blobby texture. Yes, it's a different type of architecture. You need to study about that also. Okay, so the correct answer is not the only thing that is important. The wrong answers are the other options that are given. You should know about that. That could be your possible question. That could also be a possible question in NATA. Okay, so yeah, so when we're talking about brutalism, basically that is where you have exposed the material with which that is built, that particular building will be built, would be exposed as it is. A very good example for that in itself is SPA Vijayawada, School of Planning and Architecture at Vijayawada. Okay, so rough concrete, if it is rough concrete, they'll keep it as it is. Okay, so towards the 1950s, World War II and all, so that is when they did it. It's has anyone seen Chernobyl web series? If you have seen, then the nuclear reactors, if you have seen the nuclear reactors, it's big, huge, massive, right? So it's something that is very similar to that. Okay, the brutalistic architecture would be very similar to that. Okay, quite raw. Okay, now B.V. Doshi, Zaha Hadid, Le Corbusier, these are all legendary architects who have worked on this particular style, brutalistic style. Okay. Yes, Dev Datta, yes, correct. There are also a lot of issues related to it. Some people say that it's quite unwelcoming. There are structural issues. The concrete, the rawness of the concrete is visible. It sort of feels like prison or a ghost town, and also it's quite controversial. I think there will be always in a room of 100 architects, 50 of them would support it, 50 of them would be against it. Anyway, so this is an example of it. Can you tell me which is this building? I identify the location or identify the building. It's in India. If you need a clue, it's in India. So it's basically the Palace of Assembly. It's basically the Palace of Assembly, the Assembly Hall at Chandigarh. Okay, good guesses, but still yet far away. In fact, all these buildings are actually done by Le Corbusier also itself. Okay, so I would say these are good guesses. Okay, Maxim Museum by Zaha Hadid, again, that's another prime example of brutalistic style of architecture. Okay, these are all famous examples. So I think you can understand from this the massiveness, the hugeness, the bulkiness of the building, the rawness of the material. You can see the monochrome colors and all that has been kept intact. Okay. Now, blobby texture is something that comes from organic movement amoeba shaped things. So anything that has, that particular shape or form, blob type of form or shape is basically blobby texture. Just have that in your mind also. Okay. Gothic architecture, I think everybody is, this is probably one of the most famous styles of architecture, which a lot of us know. You can see that in quite a lot of buildings, Gothic architecture is visible in most of the places wherein Britishers were there. They have left a lot of such monuments, even churches and all, you can see that. Okay. So one of the easiest points to figure that out, pointed arches to figure that out is pointed arches, lesser walls, thinner columns. They'll have thinner columns. Okay. It started in Europe, mainly France, England and all, around 1140, 1500s and all. Okay. Goats. I'm not sure about this, but I've heard that it's actually a derogatory term that is used to insult them back then. I'm not sure, but still, Gothic architecture is the name. Okay. So you might have seen such kind of architecture in buildings, right? Stained glasses and all, wherein there are certain patterns that are formed, reflections comes up when the light falls on it. Okay. So I think, yes, that should be it. You can see here the large vault sort of arrangements that they are formed. See the columns, very thin, right? Very thin. Again, vaultings that you can see, very thin columns. So that's the fundamental objective of building something like this. Okay. The Gothic arches are usually pointed. At the top, it is pointed, and that's again one of the easiest ways in which you can figure it out. Okay. Buttress is again a part of it. Buttress that is used to support. On the side, you have a support that's given. That's basically what's called as buttress. Okay. How many of you are applying for NATA? How many of you are applying for the third examination of NATA? NATA 3. Okay. I heard a lot of students withdrawing from NATA thinking that their scores might go low or anything of that sort. Okay, anyway, let's continue this. Let's continue. Yes, so basically, we were talking about, Westminster Abbey. Westminster Abbey is actually an extension of the Palace of Westminster. Westminster is for India, what is Parliament? That is Westminster for Britain, for UK. So that is where both the houses, the House of Commons and House of Lords meet. Just like how we have Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, they have a couple of houses there, House of Commons and House of Lords. Okay, it's in the banks of River Thames. I think there was a question on Thames last year also from JEE Paper. Last year or this year, I'm not sure. But anyway, Thames was there. Is 141 a good score in NATA? See, as of now, we're not sure about it. We'll have to wait till third NATA. We don't have any idea of how the question is going to be third NATA, how the question paper is going to be, whether it's going to be easy, difficult. And all. I think when you had faced the second NATA itself, I think you might have understood that there's going to be a fundamental difference between the degree of toughness between NATA 1 and NATA 2. So again, NATA 3 could be easy, it could be difficult. You never know. You'll have to wait till the third NATA. And I think most of the campuses are taking in only after the third NATA. I think CEPT had asked for scores after the 10th of August, right? So for everyone who's not aware, the CEPT application forms are open. You can apply after the 10th of August. Sorry, you can apply now. You have to upload the scorecards of NATA after the 10th of August. So they might be taking the third one also. We'll have to wait till the third one. Okay. Great. This is quite an interesting question. You will have to think to get the answer for this. Tell me the answer for this. Which is that one thing that we could be absolutely sure about in this? Is it statement number 1 or is it statement number 2? What is it that you're very clear about in this particular question? Which question is it, which statement is it that you're absolutely clear about? Statement 1 or statement 2? No, I understand. I understand the answer. But tell me, while you are sitting in the hall, if you get a question like this, which is that one statement that you will be absolutely sure about? The one for which that you will bet for, let's say, $1,000. Which one is it? Okay, that's yes, Prankit, Devdutt, Ramito. Yes, most of you are saying statement 2. Oh, Dia is saying statement 1. Okay, Dia Fatima is the only one who stands out with statement 1. Okay, Dia Fatima, fair enough. So for me also, I was absolutely sure about statement number 2. I remember that contrast, the red sandstone is something that's extremely available. Agra, Delhi, and all, you get extensively. So they've used it extensively. And if you're coming up with the white marble for Taj Mahal, there is a good chance that it could be contrast. That is the principle that you're trying to bring. Fair enough. The question is statement number 1. Okay, so for me also it was statement number 1. I am sure about one more thing. In question number 1, in statement number 1, I'm sure about one more thing, that it is placed in the extremity of this particular area, and it is in the banks of the river Yamuna. That I'm sure about, because we had seen plenty of photographs, right? During my, when I was in the 1820 age and all, we used to keep wallpapers as Taj Mahal, which was taken from Yamuna's other bank and things like that. So I was absolutely sure about the extremity, but I was not sure whether it was north or south. Okay, because red sandstone was widely used in the NCR due to availability. Devdutt, exactly, that's the point. So if you have this correct, and if you have a fair amount of confidence in this particular statement also, go for it. You should have gone for it. If you have attempted, you should have gone for it. Okay, so this is typically a sort of UPSC style or RBI style of examinations that they conduct. You have multiple statements. So you will have such kind of questions also slowly coming up. Every year, the quality of questions is obviously going to increase. They're not going to make it easy. Okay. So, I wanted to ask a question on that, which river? So I've already made my point. So which river is it? In the banks of which river do you find Taj Mahal? Correct. Devdutt, Ramito, correct. Yamuna. Okay. This is a very easy question. How many points are required to connect a 2D plane? So if you connect a couple of them, it will be a line. If you connect 3 of them, it will be a plane. Dia Fatima, yes, correct. 3. I hope most of you have got it correctly. Yes, Ramito, correct. This one also I think is very easy. If you can draw according to this particular question, you're getting it very easily. What is the question? Size of A and B are the same. That is, they have an external wall of a room has 4 openings. A wall, imagine a wall. There are 4 openings. A and B are same. That is having a width of 1 and height of 1.5 meters. So 1 meter by 1.5 meter. Okay, A and B. I'm drawing with a mouse. Apologies for this accuracy of mine. Height of C and D is the same as that of A and B. So height is the same. For C and D, height is the same. Width of C is 2.5. Width of C is 2.5. We know that also. So A, B, C. We know all these things. What is the width of D? So this is what we need to figure out. Right? 1.5. 1.5. And the width of C is 2.5. And this is again 1.5. So what is it? 1.5 into 1 plus 1 into 1.5 plus 2.5 into 1.5 plus x into 1.5. You have to equate this to 9, and you have to find out for x, solve for x. I think that's quite an easy question. I don't think I should be elaborating on that. Okay. I think it is. I got 1.5. Yes, 1.5 is the right answer. Option B is the right answer. Okay. The prestigious Aga Khan Award winning project Slum Networking, a community driven approach at Indore, is designed by. Who designed that? Who was the architect who designed the slum networking project at Indore? See, Aga Khan Award is again something that is important. Okay, Aga Khan Award, you need to figure out. It is something that's given once in every 3 years, I think. So there are very few people, like for example, architect Bimal Patel has got it for ED, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. Then architect Bibi Doshi has got it. Then I think Charles Correa has also got it. So famous architects have got it. Yes, Ramito, Himanshu Parikh, that is option A is the right answer. Himanshu Parikh is the right answer. And also figure out the important other monuments that are going on current affairs. Central Vista Redevelopment Project, who is the architect? Architect Bimal Patel. And who is doing the civil part? Tata Projects is doing the civil part for Central Vista Redevelopment Project. What is Central Vista Redevelopment Project? Central Vista Redevelopment Project is nothing but the building up of new parliament that we are taking up. Okay. When was the earlier parliament built up? From 1911 onwards. Central Vista Development Project was done in 1911. And the redevelopment is done currently because it was Britishers who were doing it. Who were the architects who were associated with the building of Delhi during then? Pre-independence, who were the architects? Two architects. Oh, Ramito is giving us new information. This year, Sept Leelavati Library has been shortlisted for Aga Khan Award. Great, thank you. So who are the two architects who worked on pre-independence Delhi, the Central Vista Development Project, the Viceroy's House or the Rashtrapati Bhavan and all? Yes, Ramito, correct. Herbert Baker and Edwin Lutyens. Herbert Baker and Edwin Lutyens. So this is basically the project. You have, I'm not going to the details and all. So you have the old parliament. This is the old parliament. This is the new parliament in the triangular shape. This is the new parliament. The old parliament will remain as a museum of Indian democracy. Okay. Then this is where you have the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Okay, new Prime Minister's office, new PM's, new Prime Minister's residence, new PM's office and all. Yes, Devdutt, Prankit, yes, correct. Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker. Okay. Yes, Ramito, new parliament is designed by Bimal Patel. Actually, it's done by his firm, HCP Designs, I think. So he is also associated with it. So that's why his name comes up, obviously. Yes, correct. Okay. The Garden of Art documentary is based on which of the following renowned architect? The Garden of Art documentary is based on which of the following renowned architect? Kishore Kurikwa? No, it is actually Joseph Allenstein. It is actually Joseph Allenstein. Joseph Allenstein has done some very famous buildings. He has worked on the Indian Habitat Center at Delhi. He has worked on, I think there is also an area, Stainabad. I think, was it conceptual or was it built? I'm not sure. Stainabad. So Stainabad, it is again the buildings that are designed by him. I think he is also associated with the Durgapur city. City planning, he was associated with it. Another famous building that he has done down south is IIM Calicut, if my memory is correct. Again, IIM Calicut. Yes, Dia Fatima, option D is the right answer, Joseph Allenstein. You need to know about these extra things also. Just do not look at the Garden of Art, who did it, Joseph Allenstein. That's no, do not forget it like that. Okay. Santiago Calatrava, Renzo Piano, all famous architects. Please go through them. Please go through them also. Okay. So yes, I think we have come almost to the second last question. So if you find this content interesting, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel. We have our curiosity quizzes also that are coming up at 9 o'clock, Mondays and Fridays. Every Mondays and every Fridays, we'll have questions, curiosity quizzes that will be coming up. Today also at 9 o'clock, we would be having a quiz. So please subscribe to the channel if you're finding the content interesting. And do let us know what are the other suggestions that you have. Yes, this one, match the following. Which one can you match? Which one can you match? Which one is the easiest for you people to match? ABCD, 4 images, 4 photographs of the buildings, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Which is the easiest for you people to match? Match that. D and 2 is easy. Yes, Guggenheim Museum by Frank Lloyd Wright. I felt right. What was the architecture that he was associated with? Frank Lloyd Wright. It is organic architecture. Ramito says Zaha Hadid is easiest. Which one? Which one? Zaha Hadid and which one? C and 4, right? C and 4. So C4, D2. C4, D2. How many options are there? C4D2. C4D2, there are two options, C and D, right? Indian Habitat Center is B1. So C is the right answer. Did I get it correct? Option C is the right answer. Yes, C is the right answer. Indian Habitat Center. Who was the architect of that? Who was the architect of Indian Habitat Center? We talked about it. Joseph Allenstein. Okay. So I think that is it. Do we have any further questions? I'm not sure. So please go through the previous year questions and all. Okay. Please go through all these questions, and please go through beyond these questions also. Please do not limit yourselves. The other options, the other architects that are given, the similar, if they have asked for CPCB, you need to know about the similar other organizations that they could ask about. You should know about the single use plastic ban that has been initiated by the central government. So how are they going to do it? They have initiated it from the central government has initiated it. It will be implemented by the state government pollution control boards, SPCBs or something is what they, there is a bracket term for that. Again, that is important. Current affairs things that has happened, Sun Temple Konark is important. The reclining Buddha is important. So please go through all these important current affairs related stuffs so that the additional things also Okay, it's not just about all these questions that you need to know about. You need to go beyond these questions also. So practice as many previous year questions as possible. Architects, monuments, a little bit of climatology, geography and all are repeated, and there is a good amount of stress that's given. And in terms of current affairs, I think class 2 or 3 years monuments is what they are asking. Okay, so you do not need to go for too much current affairs topics. Return on investment is also something that is important. Okay, so the amount of effort that you are putting and the return that you're getting for that is equally important. So if you're putting too much of effort and if you're not getting any returns, then that's not of much use, right? So be smartly you can work on it, and then you can improve it. Okay, so if you find the content interesting, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. And we have our next quiz today, 9 o'clock. We have 9 p.m. We have the next quiz that's coming up. Mondays and Fridays, we have the quizzes. Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. we have the quizzes that's coming up at YouTube. I think most of you would already be familiar of that. Any further questions, you can post it either in the live chat box, or you can also post it below the particular video. Okay, the recordings would be available. And please note, I think the admit cards, I'm not sure if the admit cards have come in the last 1 hour, but before that, when I checked it, the admit cards had not come. We are expecting it any moment. The results also we are expecting any moment. Hopefully it will come. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Okay, 30th, you will hopefully have your exams. Okay, so all the best to everyone who is preparing for JEE Paper 1, Paper 2A, Paper 2B, for everyone, NATA 3, everyone. Okay, hope you get into your dream colleges and fulfill your dreams. Okay, so thank you everyone, and thank you host for hosting this wonderful session. See you in the next one. Until then, this is Suraj and THiNC Institute of Design signing off. Thank you.